Hey everyone, it's Kanga here, and today I'm going to be going over 10 tips to improve the charged shotgun in Fortnite. Now, obviously the charged shotgun is new with Chapter 2 Season 3, and a lot of people have been complaining about how they don't like the shotgun, basically just because they don't want to learn how to use it, because it is definitely better than the pump. I made a video regarding that yesterday, check it out if you haven't already. But yeah, I've got timestamps up on the screen now for the 10 different things I'm going to be covering. Obviously that's just like a really short description of them, but if you like to look at one of those and want to know just about that, you can feel free to skip forward towards there. But some of these tips build off of each other, so I'd recommend that you just stick around for the whole thing. But yeah, before we hop into that, just want to remind you to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as I'm trying to upload as many Fortnite videos as I can right now. A wide variety of content coming out. And yeah, don't forget to use code Kanga in Fortnite item shop. And without further ado, let's hop into tip number 1. The first tip I'm going to be covering is regarding swapping too fast. If you swap too fast, you're gonna shoot. As you can see, I mean, you can't see what I'm doing with my mouse, but you have to make sure that you actually physically hear and see like the fact that you've shot before you swap. Obviously you don't have to wait as long as I just did there, but you have to wait. Compared to the attack, where you can just instantly swap the second you click, this one there is a small delay. I still think the charge is way better, and you'll see why throughout the rest of the video. But yeah, just make sure that you're accounting for this delay when swapping to your SMG, because again, obviously otherwise it will not shoot. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is why you should always be carrying an SMG with a charged shotgun rather than an AR. Now last season you could get away with carrying an AR with a pump because of how the AR's headshot damage was, but since then the ARs have been nerfed and the P90 is also back, which is obviously another reason why. You see here on his henchmen, headshots only do not double, they do 150% of the normal shot damage, whereas before they did 200%. So ARs have been nerfed now, making it a little bit worse. But the main thing is that the P90 is back. I wasn't able to find one in this custom game. But yeah, you always want to be carrying an SMG because P90s are back and ARs got nerfed a little bit. I think SMGs might have been a little bit as well, but they're just significantly stronger now, and pretty much SMG meta is kind of back, although you want to be carrying a shotgun as well. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is how to shoot faster with it. Now if you played with it, you know there's a slight delay in the time it takes for you to press the button and then for it to actually shoot. It's kind of hard to show on video. There is a slight like sound change. If you double click, it's instant. It's just like the pump. You just have to adjust to double clicking. What you can also do is come to your keybinds, and this is only if you're on PC. You can change the second one here. You can change that to scroll wheel. I'm not going to do that because I use scroll wheel pickup, but you can alternatively use that, and it'll also make you shoot faster. So again, just another comparison. I'll let you do the audio. I'll let you check the audio for yourselves here on this one. Next tip is going to be around why door edits are so strong with this gun. Now obviously the charge, when you're charging, you walk normally, you can't build with it charged up or anything. What you can do though is if you have a closed door here, while this is charged, if you have auto open doors on, the doors will open, and you can do this while the gun's charging, even if you just interact with it. So you can go here, open it, and then shoot while it is still fully charged. Obviously not massive, but it's pretty much the only thing you can do, because obviously if I charge this up, I'm getting shot by a henchman, but if I charge this up and try and edit, it stops, and that's not how it works. So door edits are going to be a lot more valuable if you're using the charged shotgun. One additional thing with that editing tip that I mentioned is that you can do something like this with your teammates. I don't know how effective this is actually going to be yet, but just take a look at this. That was a pretty slow example and pretty bad example overall, but essentially what you want to do is just have you inside of something phase so that they can't quite see your head, any enemies that are coming past so that you have an angle on, and then you want to have your teammate edit a hole for you, and then you just shoot straight through it. Again, not 100% sure how well this is going to work, but a pretty neat idea I thought I had. Obviously again, just me and my brother in battle labs the first time, I'm going to be able to pull it off too well, whereas some pro teams or better players might be able to get some nice kills with it. My fifth tip is going to be play arena. This is a pretty simple one. The reason you should be doing this is because you're going to be versing better players, and this will allow you to learn from your mistakes that you're making there. And additionally, this also kind of goes into my sixth tip. These two are kind of combined, but force yourself to use the charged shotgun, because obviously you won't get better if you don't use it. But also if you're using this in arena, tying back into what I said before, if you're versing better players with it, you'll quickly find out what to do and what not to do on your own, on top of the things I've told you what to do in this video. But yeah, that's tips 5 and 6. Play arena and always pick up the charged shotgun. Pretty obvious, but yeah. Seventh tip is going to be about charging versus tapping. Charging is when you fully charge it up so the shotgun can deal its maximum damage, and tapping is when you just click it once and shoot it as fast as you can. Now, charging you should be using when you're holding angles and on defense. And one thing I want to quickly point out with charging is that if you're charging the shotgun, you should always aim down sights. When you charge a shotgun, you get the movement penalty, so you can't sprint, you're going to be walking anyway. So when you aim down sights, normally there's a penalty there where you have to like stand still and move very little, but you already get that with charging. And since you obviously want as many pellets to hit as possible, always aim down sights when you're charging with a shotgun. And then with tapping, you want to be tapping when you're build fighting, if someone is low, or if you're like monking to someone's block. So the more aggressive you're playing, the more you want to be tapping, and yeah, holding angles and on defense is when you want to be using the charge feature. Tip number 8 is flicking versus tracking. This is a pretty common debate when it comes to aiming in games, whether you should be flicking to your targets and tracking. In most cases with shotguns at Fortnite, flicking has typically been like pretty easy to do, because obviously, as I mentioned earlier, it's instant. When you click, it does damage. Now, unless you're using the shooting faster thing I mentioned, you want to be tracking constantly, because there is that small delay when you're charging and you let go, so it's not going to be an instant shot. So if you're tracking on your target, the damage is going to hit regardless, whereas if you flick, there's a chance that you'll over flick, and then that won't deal any damage. So pretty much 95% of the time, you want to be tracking with this. If you're doing the shoot faster thing I talked about earlier, you'll have to worry about this a little bit less, but in general, tracking is better with the charged shotgun. 9th tip is a pretty self-explanatory one. This is just going to be to practice your aim. Now, this is going to be really useful if you're not familiar with tracking, or not so much not familiar with it, but not very good at it. Since you want to be tracking with this shotgun, there's a few aim apps you should use. I'll have one up on screen now. You don't even have to specifically be using a shotgun, as it's the same sensitivity with any weapon aiming down sights and not aiming down sights. Just spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes a day just tracking, practice the different tracking sections in these aiming maps. It can literally just be an AR or an SMG, it doesn't have to be a shotgun. Practice some not aiming down sights, practice some aiming down sights, and your tracking will be better in no time, and you'll be hitting more shots for more damage with the charged shotgun. My 10th and final tip is going to be more familiar with the damage values. I've got this graph up on screen now, which again was in my video yesterday. Check that out if you haven't already. I explained this in a bit more detail. But essentially the key takeaway from this is that a blue charged shotgun can deal 200 damage to the head if you're close to them. Now obviously the blue pump could not do this, whereas the blue charged shotgun can, which is a key reason why I think it's better. And you can also see from this it has some decent range. The yellow numbers are headshots. I only do that for close range, because at further ranges you're going to be hitting pellets into the head and in the body. And then yeah, the F on the left, is for fully charged C's for tap fire. And then on the right, one tile is considered to be like one little wooden square that you can build. Just quickly clarify that, but yeah, be familiar with damage values, because then obviously you'll know like what ranges to be shooting from and what damage to be expecting. That's going to be it for this video. If you did find it useful, please leave a like and subscribe, and additionally, please leave any feedback you have down below. I'd honestly prefer if you said something negative, not just that though, but also what I can do to improve that, because this season I'm trying to make as much content as I can, and I want to know what you guys want to see and what you guys think I'm doing wrong and what I can do to improve my content. But yeah, don't forget to use code Kanga in the Fortnite item shop, and that's it for now. I will see you all next time. See ya.